ain't believing us. We the best music. And play themselves. While you hating and being jealous, you can be over here embracing that love. More blessings, more life. God did. You either win with us or you watch us win. DJ Khaled.
They want us down. Ooh. But look at us now. Oh. They counting us out. Anything that we will make. Anything about our head up. Oh, but I know God will. Oh, that's it. Kelly. Those guys, they just praying that I crash. Cause those guys, they don't want to see you last. They take a $3 million above your tax. A tub full of money, I still can't relax. Time spinning, Lord forgive me, I'm a sinner, conquer divide. Wrong side of the petition, only divine winning. Better listen when I tell you how I time in it. Please forgive me, God did. So leave me in the dark, swimming with the sharks. Dope boy, big calm, still the biggest boss. Got a kilo on the plate, send him on the freight. Or I could go and buy a bank, I know my money's safe. They counting the shops. Anything that we will make.
Just a little bit, just a little bit.
Come on, Wayne.
You are inside the Danny Morrison Show. We are holding it down for Danny Mo, who will be back on Monday night. I'm Robin Ayers, your host for the night. I'm sitting here with my co-host, Raji Muhammad.
Yeah.
Wearing that mauve.
It's mauve.
A real nice pink hoodie. He looking real comfortable, making me want to go to sleep up in here. You know what I'm saying? Lights just dim up in here. I'm trying to get some rest. He over there looking comfortable and whatnot in that mauve. No, I'm just kidding. It's good to have you here, Raji. And Marcel, we thank you for your call. Marcel, on the other side, we were talking about this gaming thing. Listen, if you want to call in and join the discussion and try to give us some solutions, by all means, you can do that at 1-800-920-1580. You could also call in and use that open mic feature on our app. We'll be checking them out. Don't you trip about it. We welcome that and you know, your phone calls and whatever else you want to do, DM and all of that good stuff. I don't know if I have a solution, though, Faraji. I don't know. This is probably an ongoing conversation, and at some point in the future, maybe we'll just have you back because I want you to think about it. You know what I'm saying? What do we do? Because Marcel brought up a great point. When gaming and virtual reality and all of these amazing things that are happening, it takes someone who is in tech or it takes someone who knows how to code well to create these things. And but on the flip side, those who are participating in it are being harmed. Oftentimes, you're being harmed because you spend so much time inside of these faux reality worlds. They're reality in virtual, in the virtual world. But here's the thing. You spend so much of your time there that you are being affected in your real life. And oftentimes, people have to go to therapy behind it. People, you know, I know that it's similar to like gambling. Like when you're gambling, you're doing it too much. It starts to, you know, affect your family and your lifestyle.
Well, I think a couple of things. One is that, you know, technology is based upon people's, you know, our thinking patterns, and it's geared toward creating logical effect within us. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about the level of excitement, serotonin.
Absolutely.
When you're talking about, you know, the anticipation of getting a text, you know what I mean, or hearing that ding. I mean, it's created to build like that. And I think that this is one of the things that, you know, we got to keep in mind, that these designers are not designing just to play around. They're designing to essentially change how we think and our behavior.
That's absolutely right.
You know, there's a group that I came across that is kind of working to create technology or advocating for technology that is much more humane. And it's a group called the Center for Humane Technology. And they're looking at all of these things, whether it's social media or whether it's YouTube or whether, you know, all of our technology, and saying, what is really going on? Your technology should be working for you. You know, when he's talking about humane technology, it's like, is it technology, or is it a platform or a technological space that will help to raise up the consciousness of people?
And I hope so, because I told you earlier that I was going to explain to you what happens with me.
Right.
And I'm going to do that right now inside the Raw Report. Let's go ahead and hit that, Andy.
You ready? It's the Queen of Royal Bad.
It's time for the Raw Report with Robin A.
Highlighting people and things you should know about.
From entrepreneurs and entertainers to money and meditation.
Robin's got you covered.
Get out of here.
Follow Robin at Robin Ayers. You're listening to the Raw Report on the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Robin's got a lot to talk about.
All right, so I'm going to break it down, right?
Right.
I'm going to break it down. I got into social media, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do social media the way I love it, the way I feel it, the way, you know, I'm going to just roll with it and not really kind of bend to any rules. I'm not going to conform. I'm going to just do it the way I like it. So everything I was popping with it. It was good. It was really working. But I became like everyone else who, you know, started to look for the likes and the appreciation from other people when I posted something. And oftentimes, at the beginning of Instagram and anything else, it was really about pictures. It wasn't really informative. It wasn't education or anything like that. It was just, you know, what we all did. We just posted pictures, and I probably fell, you know, victim to that. And it was just trying to post a pretty picture and wanting some people to like it or comment on it or whatever. So that, you're right. So when you're talking about that serotonin, that we're all affected by that. And if you let it get to you, you will become sort of what is now the case with many people. You will delve into it, and it becomes really pertinent in your life. But what happens is it started to affect me so much so that I turn my at all times. I don't get any notification sound at all. I don't hear a buzz on my phone. My phone doesn't vibrate. It doesn't do anything, because I at all times keep it on silent, because I can't stand to hear the sound of my phone, and I don't want to become a slave to my phone. So oftentimes I will even leave my phone upstairs or away from me somewhere. I'll leave it in a different room or wherever away from me, just so that I don't see the light. I don't even want to see the light come on. So sometimes I put my phone down because I don't like to see the light. That's exactly what is happening. And I'm a grown woman, and I'm saying it's doing that to me. So imagine that much more for our kids and teenagers and young adults.
Whose brains aren't fully developed.
Exactly.
Whose brains aren't fully developed. So they're really firing off, you know, these notifications, these dings, the buzzing of the phone, just the feeling that you have to, in order for you to have a good day, or quote unquote you have to constantly be engaged with this piece of technology. Same way, like at night, I turn in my stuff is completely silent. I don't hear you.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear. And even though, you know, I have 2 different email addresses, you know, I got a whole bunch of, you know, news apps on the phone, so there's always something happening. And it's like, you know, I don't want to keep hearing this. Then I remember this one time, Robin, I don't know if this ever happened to you. Like, there was a period when I kept my phone on, and then I would constantly hear the dings. And then once I turned it off, I would still hear the dings.
Yes.
And then I was like, yo, I'm going crazy.
I can't stand that.
I was like, Verizon. You know, you sitting at the table like, yo, anybody heard that?
Yeah. You want to go jump up and
you be like, what are you
No,
talking
and
about?
that's real. And even when your phone hasn't gone off or you haven't heard the ding in a while, you pick it up like, am I missing something? Are y'all really calling? I'm just not hearing it or whatever? Yeah.
I don't like
it. It plays with your mind.
I don't like this. And we do it so subconsciously. Like, you might talk to somebody, and just as a brief exercise, Rob. Look at, I've done this, right? This is funny. Look at how many times they look at their phone during the course of a 5-minute conversation. It could be sitting there just looking, and then you be like, yeah, so, you know, boom, 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 yeah, boom, and it is this constant fidgeting. Or if you watch people at dinner, I always love this. Go to a restaurant and you watch someone at dinner, And then next thing you know, they looking at their phones more than look at the people at the dinner table.
Yeah. Well, that's automatically a rule. No phones at the dinner table. My daughters they'll in a heartbeat. They'll be like, "Excuse me, everybody, put your phones down." Because if you take a look around, everybody is either reading something on the phone, playing a game on their phone, on social media on their phone, or whatever the case may be. But whatever it is, it's unhealthy, especially when you're when you are having family time. I made a point. I said, you know what? And this actually changed my life. This piece of information changed my life.
Andy, hold on. This is a life.
This is an exclusive. No.
Robin's life-changing.
It's an exclusive.
Lesson.
You know what? I'm gonna
Robin's lesson. That's what we're gonna call this point.
I'm gonna do what I like to do. I'm gonna keep you on the edge. I'm gonna tell you what my special thing is when we come forward on the other side of KBLA Talk 1580.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles, like George and Weezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
When it comes to LA's next mayor, who can we trust to stand up for our community? The person who's always been there, Democrat Karen. Karen Bass has always been a Democrat, fighting for principles like fairness, justice, and equal rights. She's not a billionaire real estate developer who only comes around during election time. Karen Bass has never left our side or forgotten where she came from. Take it from someone who knows.
This is Stevie Wonder, and you know what? Today, there should be no confusion. Los Angeles needs real principled leadership. We need someone who is who they say they are, with or without a hot microphone. We need someone who has been consistent with who they are in principle, party affiliation, and government service. No surprises with Karen Bass. She is who she's always been, a real honest leader. Vote Karen Bass.
Paid for by Karen Bass for Mayor 2022 General. More information at ethics.lacity.com.
Power represented here today. And I come to ask you to go all out to get every Negro in this county registered to vote. Just see what a power you can be. Then after getting people registered, that is another even greater responsibility. That is to go out to vote. Once more, we have the opportunity to send to the Congress of the United States competent, qualified, dedicated black men and women. Let us march on ballot so somehow we will be able to develop that day. Men will have food and material necessities for their body, freedom and dignity and culture for their mind.
Paid for by the African American Voter Registration, Education, and Participation Project. Real talk, real time, the gospel truth. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
We are back inside the Raw Report. I'm glad you haven't gone anywhere because we're going to talk about something that I thought is pretty interesting. You know, we are talking about, mental health and all of this stuff that comes from gaming and virtual reality and stuff like that. But you know who also talked about mental health recently? Speaking of gaming, T-Pain is one of those ones who talked about how much money he makes from it.
Yeah.
Did you see that? Did you hear that?
I haven't heard it. I didn't know he was in gaming like that.
I didn't know either, but it's real out there. He said, and I'm not going to misquote him, but something along the lines of he makes more money gaming than he does off of like his music or something like that. Yeah. But I'm not. The more that I'm learning about it, I'm not surprised because people are making hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars just from gaming. But there was a clip where he talked about discussing mental health and something that he had gone through. He was pretty public about what happened, and we'll talk about that as well. But let's just go to this clip and unpack it right after.
You've been really vocal about the journey that you've been on. You know, I found it interesting. I mean, it was terrible for you, but you know, people started blaming you for music. Like you came out with a style of using autotune that nobody had ever seen before.
Right.
You know, in my humble opinion, I'm not a musician, but I felt like you used it properly. Then everyone just came out and everything. You know what I mean? And then people started saying either like, oh, T-Pain spoiled music, T-Pain destroyed music. And you went into a depression and you spoke about how you had to work on your mental to come out of this.
Absolutely. I love being vocal about things like that because it wasn't set in the blueprint before me. Everybody was always, you know, it's all about blinging, it's all about having a bunch of money and having all this, and nobody tells you about the down. Right. Everybody always tells you about the up, and I always look back at the people that came before me, and I'm like, why didn't y'all tell me about this? Like, you know, according to them, it was big house. Somehow your wife don't find out about any of that. You know, the fantasy world. But, you know, nobody told us about the down. So I try to stay vocal about that to let people know these things are going to happen. As much as you try to create this perfect world around you, no matter what you do, you can have charities, you can do all these great things. You're still going to have these downs because there's no magical world in the multiverse that everybody is happy all the time.
The multiverse, he said it. Hey, tell me real quick, what's your preference of music? Are you hip hop? Are you R&B? What are you?
Yo, I'm gonna be. I love Imagine Dragons. They're my favorite band.
Wait a minute. What you know about Imagine Dragons though?
I was mad they came here, performed at Bank of California Stadium, and I could not go. Mad.
Imagine Dragons is actually fire.
Imagine Dragons is my favorite band. Now, on the hip hop, I listen to Imagine Dragons, The Score. So you just, you know, Sam Tenez, like those guys are like my music, my go-to music. Okay. But on the hip hop side, of course, you know, I think I will be a forever J fan. But right. You know, I mean, like I like some of T's. His stuff is catchy. You can't
T-Pain. Okay, all right. The reason I'm asking that is you have to see, just like me, that a lot of these artists, and what I think it's a part of their brand and their image, what they have to give off is that they have a real great life. Everything is all money, flashy, nice clothes, nice home,
I think that's by design. I think that's by design. I think that's the narrative that a lot of the industry wants to keep putting out there, to keep bringing people in, to keep engaging people. But I think that there is the flip side, and I appreciate T-Pain for making his point, that we go through ups and downs, and we, you know, especially when you have families and stuff, like, you know, we talk that mess on tracks, but at the end of the day, I got to go home to my wife. I got to go home to a son and a daughter. I got to go home to, you know, taking care of my family. But then on the flip side of that is you know, this idea that you want to keep putting out there to mass public, that, you know, if all you got to do is this one thing and your life can change forever.
Yeah, let me tell you why I appreciate T-Pain for that. And those who don't know or haven't heard him talk about it before, he was one of the first ones, if not the first one, on a big mainstream platform level, start doing auto-tune when it comes to that music thing. Well, I mean, he's not necessarily the first to say that. It became very normalized once he started doing it. And we liked it as the listeners. I think his audience liked it, his fan base. But a lot of the real singers out there, people who had never used auto-tunes, were upset about it.
But he's not using it. I mean, you know, I think that's like an artistic beef.
Yeah, and he would agree with you.
Beef, you know what I mean? Because, you know, the music, like hip-hop in particular, is becoming such it's very, like, it blends all different genres. I mean, you got Lil Nas X blending, you know, country music to rap.
Yeah.
And then you have, you know, like you said, like T-Pain using this one technology, this one tool, and he still does it. I mean, remember Ja Rule? When Ja Rule was, you know what I mean, he used to sing on the tracks, and it sounded like if you go back, he probably used auto-tunes for a lot of his music.
Okay.
The music flows, and I mean, to the point that you made, at the time, T-Pain, at the peak of his, I mean, man, you couldn't deny it sounded good.
To this day, T-Pain's music is fire. But he normalized it so much, especially with his own sound, so much so that when he did the Tiny Desk performance, and he just sang with his own vocal ability, Twitter went crazy. They were like, T-Pain could actually sing. It is not auto-tune. He could actually carry not only just a note, but he could sing. And so I think because he was doing so much of that and changing because what auto-tunes really is, it makes anything sound good, right? So he was changing people's vocal technique and what their vocal ability sounded like when it came across on tracks. He was changing it so I'm saying real artists or real singers, quote unquote. I think it was Usher. They saw him on a flight and somebody said, "Yo, like, I'm really disappointed in you. Like, I'm mad at you. I really have a problem with you because you messed up. You messed up this genre of music." And he said because of that, he went into a Great Depression for himself because he thought he messed up music. According to, if it was Usher, and I'm sorry, Usher, if it wasn't you, I apologize, homie. but whoever it was that told him that, he looked up to a certain degree, and that really truly affected him.
It wasn't Jay, was it?
Nah, was it Jay?
I don't know.
Man, now you got me thinking.
I don't know. The reason I'm saying, because remember when Jay put out Death of Auto-Tune, DOA, on Blueprint 3. Y'all can tell I'm a big Jay-Z fan.
Yeah, you really are.
You know,
wait. But on that note, God did. Okay, the song, DJ Khaled song. Yeah. Was it, because you know the whole conversation surrounding Jay's verse was, this is one of his greatest. Was it in his top 5 or no? 10 maybe?
No, it wasn't in his top 5.
Okay, 10? Andy Baker like,
I wouldn't even put it in his top 10.
Why then? Okay, Andy, feeling on that. Why then why did people make such a big deal out of Jay's verse on God Did?
Because everything he said was actually true.
That's it. It wasn't because
it wasn't the style in which he said it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a level of truth. Like, he retold his story. Narrative of going from,
but he always does. Jay-Z is not new to that. He always tells his story.
But it's more true. Like, you get to hear a little bit more detail.
More true.
Like the people that he's around, his associate, his circle. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He said, you know, man, I clean my La Madrina with the soap. You know what I mean? Like he's talking about learning how to go from one space into another and being successful at it, and not really suffering huge consequences. There's a level of truth. Now, if you he rapped it in such a way that it was like I'm still that guy. Don't ever forget.
But see, okay, here's the thing. Okay, let me go in real quick.
All right.
I think the reason why people went off in that song is because of his flex. He's one of the greatest flexers. Like, he will flex on people. He's one of the greatest people to do it because it is true.
That's because you don't expect a man at that level to still have that level of authenticity. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at Jay-Z, he's a phenomenon in himself.
Absolutely.
And I mean, just in a sense of, he's in his 50s and whatever he drops is still shaking up the industry. You know what I'm saying? Like. And he's not even really rapping. Like, when you hear Jay-Z rapping, you know what I'm saying? Like, right now, it's just like he's just telling his life story.
That's exactly it.
For example, who I thought was, like, rapping was Wayne.
Oh, okay. the way Faraji and Andy back here.
I'm just saying. Wayne was like.
Feeling what each other got to say is hilarious.
I'm just saying, like, Wayne.
What, like rapping as
his story in such a way. He said, you know, dreadlocks, face tack, I am the apex of the culture. Like, when you hear, that's his, like, but, you know, it's like I went on YouTube and somebody said, you know, Wayne understood the assignment. It was, his whole verse is like, I didn't do this on my own, but God did it. You know, I prayed more, said less, God did the rest.
All right, I have a proposition for you, Faraji. Andy, you tell me if
Andy,
you agree.
am I wrong in this?
Tell me if you agree, Andy. My proposition for you is when Danny comes back and we do our next versus battle.
Yeah, he got to be a judge for sure.
Faraji, you got to be a judge.
That's cool.
Because Andy be holding it down. I'm not gonna lie, but it's Andy. It's one man. It's okay. So you down to be?
I'm down with it. I'm down with it. But if you listen to God Did is a great track. I think it's worthy of an award because let me tell you the sound of it. It feels like a spiritual type of situation.
Yeah, that's
it does feel it. But like Rick Ross came in and did his. Everybody had their own flavor. The Jay-Z verse is just like you heard this story, but you heard it with a little bit more a different nuance, right? A little bit more detail, right? And then he still can say it in such a way where he's talking about his personal story. He's talking about the work he's doing with the prison criminal reform. You know what I mean? I'm always going to have some, for these draconian laws, I'm always going to have some smoke. Like he's
come on with the bars.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's talking about his life in such a way there's truth there. Yeah. So you're not like, oh man, he's just talking.
Yeah.
But then he flexes at the end. He said, y'all donkeys, y'all don't recognize the goat. He said, making me like Farrakhan through Mike Wallace. I think you should keep quiet. Like, come on, yo.
All right, I think Faraji is gonna break down some more bars for us on the other side. Because God did. We gonna break down. We gonna break down some more bars.
But it wasn't his top.
On the other side, I want y'all to stay right there. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
Nighttime is the right time for Danny Morrison on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Mike Island, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Lyft is cutting more than a tenth of its workers. The rideshare company says 13% of its employees will be let go. Lyft's co-founders cited economic challenges, including a possible recession. Official claims the country isn't in a recession. Chief of Staff Ron Klain cited low unemployment claims and a low unemployment rate, along with a good stock market. However, he described inflation as the number one problem facing the economy. The UN Secretary General is happy ships carrying food are leaving Ukraine again. Antonio Guterres called the development hopeful news in a world turning in turmoil. Mortgage rates are dropping back below the 7% mark. Freddie Mac says a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage came out to an average of 6.95% for the week that ended today. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Island from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident? Because unlike other firms, an attorney will negotiate your case, not a paralegal.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has scheduled a meeting next week with Brooklyn Nets guard Kyrie Irving. Silver said he's disappointed in Irving for not apologizing for promoting a documentary on his Twitter page that supports anti-Semitism. Robert Dillingham, the top high school point guard in the country, is leaving Donda Academy in Chatsworth to sign with Overtime Elite. The basketball team at Donda Academy, a prep school started by Kanye West, is in jeopardy of not having a season. Opponents are canceling games against Donda because of anti-Semitism comments made by West. New York Giants general manager Joe Shane admitted he has contacted the agent for Rams wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. No debates, no speculation, just the info. Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. This sports report was brought to you by MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to your settlement, we'll slam dunk. Call 833-MVP-WINS or check their website at themvp.com for a free case review.
If you're the victim of a car accident, call the pros at MVP Accident Attorneys. When it comes to getting the maximum compensation you deserve, our team hits it out of the park. Call 833-MVP-WINS for a free case review.
Call me your MVP.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley. As KBLA Talk 1580 host, we never quite know where the conversation is going to go. But sometimes our guests really surprise us.
Let me just close with saying I downloaded your app while we were talking. It's a terrific app. I look forward to it. I'm enjoying your format and what several 100,000 followers and call their attention to it as well.
If the KBLA 1580 app is enticing enough for our guests to download and share, you should download the app and share with your friends too.
That's beautiful.
So, download the KBLA 1580 app today and take us with you wherever you go. KBLA Talk 1580.
You are now rocking with the best.
We got a lot to talk about.
Vote Heidi Feldstein Soto for LA City Attorney. Heidi is running to stop corruption at City Hall, to protect neighborhoods from crime and illegal guns. And as the first woman ever elected LA City Attorney, Heidi will stand up for reproductive rights. That's why Heidi is the only candidate endorsed by the LA Democratic Party, Planned Parenthood, the LA Sentinel, and the LA Times. Vote Heidi Feldstein Soto for LA City Attorney. Soto for City Attorney 2022 General. Info available at ethics.lacity.org.
When you're the victim of a car accident, who goes to bat for you is crucial. We're MVP accident attorneys, the personal injury pros. Hiring the right law firm can be the difference between a rewarding settlement and striking out. Our team is in it to win it, and we'll fight to get the maximum compensation you deserve. Call the pros at MVP accident attorneys at 833-MVP-WINS for your free consultation. Call 833-MVP-WINS.
Call on me, your MVP.
Haven't voted yet? Save time and avoid the election day lines by voting early. Visit plan.lavote.gov to find a vote center in your neighborhood and stop by before Tuesday, November 8th.
Inglewood healthcare workers, patients, and community leaders are urging you to vote no on measure.
HC raises pay for only certain healthcare workers, but workers at 73% of Inglewood's healthcare facilities get nothing.
In fact, Measure HC excludes workers at community clinics, urgent care centers, Planned Parenthood, and other providers that serve low-income and uninsured patients. HC will create staffing shortages and jeopardize access to quality health care for the most disadvantaged.
And Measure HC will increase healthcare costs by millions of dollars every year at a time when Inglewood working families can't afford higher prices.
Measure HC. Unequal,
unfair,
costly.
Please vote no on HC.
Ad paid for by No on Measure HC. Inglewood Healthcare Workers and Providers Against the Unequal Pay Initiative, sponsored by the California Association of Hospitals and Health Systems. Committee major funding from California.
You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you very much for coming out this evening. Thank you. You're fuck too kind. Hold your applause. This is your song, not mine. Thank you. Please hold your applause. For I just applied logic. Keys, open doors. Now I'm out to the opera. Black truck, binocular. Black luck. Stop it, I shouldn't be so popular. Name keep popping up. Face keep popping up. On the two, I'm just watching Pacquiao box them up. How would I know HBO would get a shot of us? Sitting so close that we almost got synonymous. Please don't bow in my presence. How am I a legend? I just got 10 number 1 albums, maybe now 11. More hits than an hour 11. That is no reason to treat me like I'm somehow from out of heaven. Heaven knows that I made my mistakes. Thank God, what a guy as I save my grace. Who would have thought by making birds migrate? For the winter, I can fly all summer, might I say? Thank you. Get fucked too kind. Woo! Hold your applause. This is your song, not mine.
We're playing that Jay-Z.
Thank you.
Andy came through with that one. That's a great track right there. You are inside the Danny Morrison Show. I'm Robin Ayers, your host for the night, sitting here with my co-host for Roger. Still inside the Raw Report. And what a fitting song right there, because we were talking right now off air about some of the stuff he was just talking about. He was just saying, I want you to take to the mic, if you don't mind, Faraji. You said it so eloquently, talking about the rappers. We were actually talking about God did. And you got Rick Ross on there, Jay-Z is on there, Lil Wayne on there, and obviously DJ Khaled, but 3 real prominent rappers right now, and what the perspective is from both sides, what they portray and what we receive as the consumers.
I think it's something major, you know what I mean? When I heard God did it first time and listened to the content for each one of them, the big overarching message I got from them was that because I have money, because I have fame, because I'm deemed important in the eyes of society, I'm favored.
Favored by God.
God did this, right? But I think there's a slippery slope, because just like you have in the church, in some of the church preaching of what they call prosperity gospel, where the connection of material wealth is seen as the benefits of your favor with the God. And that's never true, because God, if you always look in the Bible or Holy Quran, God never favored the rich. He always favored the oppressed.
That's a word. That's a word.
Right. So what is the message that we're saying when we start talking about, material wealth? It's like, I see a lot of artists when they get an award, artists might say, "Oh man, I thank God. I thank the Holy Spirit." Boom, boom, boom. And it's like being rewarded by a system that takes the lowest expression of our talents and puts it out on a mass appeal level. You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
So if you see your life personally as being blessed, right?
Yeah.
And then of course you got those of us who consume the music, the fans and everything. We like, oh well, if God blessed them,
right,
with the riches and they're favored, and I don't have those riches, then I'm seen as being what? Godless. I'm not favored.
So you actually made a real great point about how we begin to worship these artists because
just in that same vein.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, Jay-Z is one of my favorite artists. But he calls, all artists, if you notice, like in hip-hop, they all take on very, very powerful names. Jay calls himself Hova, Jehovah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rakim always called himself the God in the sea. And, they take on this different persona to show that they are the ones that's closest to the Almighty, or, you know what I mean, in some way, shape, or form.
That's a great breakdown, though, Faraji.
Yeah.
That's a great breakdown. How do you view this scripture then? Because what we all often see a lot is people will take scriptures from the Bible and literally, you can take that and apply it anywhere that you want in your life.
Yeah.
You can misconstrue it. You could, people often take the scripture that God said, I came to give you life and that more abundantly. And what you think abundantly is the material thing, so that it feels like they are living the scripture.
Right. It feels like they're living the scripture, but guess what? The devil can offer you the same thing.
Right. Okay. That's the difference.
You see what I'm saying? Like for the untrained eye, for the person who don't know how to differentiate, for the person who don't have the scriptures as a point of reference, if they're looking at the lives of artists and entertainers and say, oh, well, they're favored. But they don't understand that, yes, God will favor you, but see, God, when we really look at Him, we can't come to God. We don't need to come to God with all of the trappings of the world. He doesn't even care about that. He wants you to come to Him naked, without all those things.
Yeah.
Are you willing to give up all of those things? Well, that's what Jesus asks in the scriptures. It's like, are you willing to give up all of those things? He said this to the rich man, give up your wealth.
That's right.
And come follow me.
That's right. Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, that message got drowned out, because the devil will entice us with wealth in order for him to pull us along. God said, no, I don't need none of that. You put that to the side. And so that's why He came out and Jesus said it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven. Like, that's heavy. Like, that means that your material gain, your material wealth means nothing.
How do you break down then? And deep. But it's good.
Church on Thursday.
It's actually good. I'm loving to hear your perspective on this. How do you break down when God talked about giving each his own talent, right?
Yeah.
And is it meant to be sort of like a, just the fact that we look at these rappers and we're like, oh, they're putting out all of their talent and it looks like they're being rewarded for it. Should it be an inspiration then for us to say, listen, I see them using their talent and they're getting rewarded for it. Do you feel like maybe that's why you have all these up and coming rappers, because they're like, I'm talented in the same way. That's God's gift to me. Should I, and I'll probably be rewarded for it just the same. Trying to attain that same thing. Do you see how it correlates?
Yeah, I can see how it correlates. Mm-hmm. The stories of the talent, if you look at it, is the story of us, understanding the gifts that we are given, right?
Sure.
But the talents, it's like the God asked us. He said, "Look, I'm gonna give you this gift, but the gift really is my way of seeing whether you are going to use this gift in service of me, right? Mm-hmm. Or are you going to use this just to enrich yourself, right?" Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's the place that I think that's really important for us right now. Like when we look at celebrities, when we look at rappers, when we look at all these people with wealth and all of this money and think to ourselves, they're closer to the heavens, they're closer to the Almighty than we are because they have these talents and gifts. Mm-hmm. But what we often forget about is that we all got talents and gifts.
That's exactly it.
We all have these gifts. We all have these talents. And then if we all got these talents, what's stopping us? Well, what's simply stopping us is that we ourselves, right? Like I think for a very long time, it's hard for black folks in particular. It's hard for black folks to see divinity in other black folks.
Okay. Well, you see where this conversation is going. We still have so much more to talk about. And Damien, we see you as well. I definitely want to get you in here because
am I crazy?
No, this is good. No, you breaking it down. This is good. I want to get him in here when we come forward as well because he's going to add to this conversation. You are still inside the Rob Report. It's KBLA Talk 1580. Stay right there.
Yep.
From Bakersfield to Los Angeles, by George and Weezy, Danny Morrison is moving on up at KBLA Talk 1580.
Janet Jackson set to launch worldwide tour. Maisha Cairo here. It's time for your K-Black Minute News. A source reveals that Janet Jackson's latest tour will focus on the reissue of her 97 album, The Velvet Rope, as well as some brand new material. Janet has been working on staging shows after she canceled her Black Diamond shows back in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The sister of the late Michael Jackson has produced 11 records during her 30-year career. Fun fact, in a recent interview, Jackson revealed that the album, Velvet Rope, which includes hits like Together Again and I Get Lonely, was the hardest one for her to record. Funny thing is, it debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 with 3 singles also topping the charts. Will you see Janet in concert? Let us know on socials at KBLA 1580.
Roll out. The all-new Gardena Nissan is proud to be a partner of KBLA, and right now, during their fall sales event, 0 down delivers any new or pre-owned car at Gardena Nissan. They're located conveniently on Redondo Beach Boulevard at Western, and they specialize in helping folks out who have no credit, bad credit, bankruptcies, or repos. The folks that take care of you and help you get into the car you need and deserve at a spectacular price. Visit them today or shop online at GardenaNissan.com. The all-new Gardena Nissan is proud to be a partner of KBLA, and right now, during their fall sales event, 0 down delivers any new or pre-owned car at Gardena Nissan. For the best deals, log on to GardenaNissan.com. 0 down on approved credit. GardenaNissan.com. Roll out.
Power to the people.
If Black Lives Matter, make black votes count. Vote by November 8th. Long lines, voter roll purges, voter identification laws, voter intimidation, felony disenfranchisement, polling place closures, early voting limitations, partisan redistricting, partisan Supreme edition of the Voting Rights Act. Vote on or by November 8th. If Black Lives Matter, make black votes count. Tamir Wright, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Heather Heyer, Emmett Till, Medgar Evers, Jimmy Lee Jackson, Fred Hampton, Werner, Goodman, and Cheney, Viola Louisu, Fannie Lou Hamer, John Lewis. They rest in power. Make their memory and power when you vote on or by November 8th. If you believe Black Lives Matter, then make black votes count.
Paid for by the African American Voter Registration, Education, and Participation Project.
Hey, Los Angeles, this is Irvin Magic Johnson. Today, our city faces a crisis of violence, homelessness, and soaring rents. And nobody is better equipped to tackle that crisis fast. Karen worked in the emergency room, taking care of crime victims, making decisions that were a matter of life and death. She served as assembly speaker during the financial meltdown, doing the difficult work needed to rescue our state budget and protect the programs people rely on. As our next mayor, Karen will do what she's always done. When there's no room for error, she'll lead with her smarts and lead with her heart. On November 8th, please join me in supporting Karen Bass for mayor.
Paid for by Karen Bass for Mayor 2022, General. More information at ethics.lacity.org.
Judges make life-altering decisions every day, but we rarely know anything about them. Their name, and when it's time to bubble in our vote, we aren't sure who to pick, or worse, we leave a blank. This November, we must vote for community lawyers who will bring fresh perspectives and experiences to the LA Superior Court. The Defenders of Justice are 4 women running to become your next local judges. They are Holly Hancock, Elizabeth Lashley Hines, Anna Slaki-Raytano, and Carolyn G. Young Park. Learn more at thedefendersofjustice2022.com. This ad was paid for by Justice PAC by La Defensa, a project tied to advocacy for Hancock, Lashley Hines, Raytano, and Park for Judge 2022. Major committee funding from La Defensa, Project of Tied Advocacy, Progressive Era PAC, and Smart Justice California Action Fund.
Real talk. You're listening to the Danny Morrison Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
Man, these conversations are so good. They're so good. We need more time. But we got a couple of callers on the line. I want to get Damien up in here to add to this conversation. Damien, where are you calling from?
Calling from Covina, Robin.
Hey, Covina, drop that, Andy. What's going on, Damien? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. Peace to the chat, brother Faraji.
Hey, peace, Damien. What's going on, brother?
Listen, man, you guys, this is like the second consecutive night, sis. You are just lit right now. Like, the conversation is bananas.
Appreciate
it. And I love how Faraji just literally broke down the song that you guys were talking about, God Did, and speaking on Jay and his whole vibe and how he transformed from where he was to where he is. Mm. But I just wanted to present another, like, side to this whole conversation. I agree with everything that both of you guys have just said. However, I really so many celebrities who are out on these platforms, right, making millions of dollars doing secular music, and really just telling their story and sharing their life experiences through music. I get it. I'm not hating on that. But when you're coming from a spiritual sense, you really have to be careful how you walk and how you speak on God.
That's right.
You feel me? Because when I first got into the music business, I was in an R&B group that got discovered at the Roxy by the Whispers. In 1992, we got signed to Capitol Records. That's back in the day when Boyz II Men was just pulling up and taking over everything, and then Jodeci came, and then all these other R&B groups start popping up. And so back in the day when I was getting put on, it wasn't about chasing the bag, believe it or not, like it is today. It was about literally just getting out there on the road, doing what you love to do, doing what you do because you recognize that God gave you the talent to be on this platform. Now the game has changed so dramatically because Now, if you want to be a rapper, you have to be willing to do licks. If you want to be a rapper now, you got to be willing to pull up on somebody with a chopper and be about that business. You know, and the game is just so different now. When you guys were talking, I was thinking about everybody out there chasing the bag, right? But when you really are standing in front of the world, receiving an award and saying, I want to thank God, and God did, and God did, if you're really speaking on God on that level, you really have to be about God, because God cannot be fooled. And like the scripture says, he's not slack concerning his promises, and he will not be mocked.
Wow.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And so if you represent that spiritual world, you have to, you already have an understanding that you're supposed to be peculiar. You're supposed to be different. The scripture says, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye what? Transformed by the renewing of your mind. How can you be transformed if you're still out in the mix, basically emulating to society that's all about chasing the bag? That's a contradiction.
Yeah.
And so,
that's a great
and
point,
so many, and so many people, so many celebrities on their social platforms talking about when they get put on and when they finally get the bag. When they finally get the bag, they want to speak on they walking in their purpose. I caution people to be careful about saying that you're walking in your purpose, because purpose really isn't ours. Purpose, I believe, in my opinion, I believe God allows us to walk into purpose. It's like we are the beneficiaries of purpose, and therefore God allows us to walk in it. We don't create purpose, because if we could create our own purpose, why do any of us need faith?
All right, Damien, those are bars. Those are bars. We appreciate you, Damien. Damien, thank you so much for calling tonight and adding to the conversation. We have another call. You want to take another caller? Or Roger, you want to respond to anything Damien said?
Who we got? The next caller?
Yeah, we got the next.
Let me just throw in there, because I think Damien, because I think he dropped a lot of great jewels, right?
Yeah, he did.
And I would agree with him, because, you know, I mean, none of us are perfect. No, you know, as the scriptures say, you know, we all have our shortcomings, but at the end, we all have a responsibility. If you're blessed to have a platform, then you have a responsibility to try to point to the people the best direction that they can go. You don't want to be in a position, and I think this is what to Damien's point, you don't want to be in a position where you want to act as if you are the creator of your own gifts, or you're in a position where you act as if you're the one that needs to be worshipped, right? Yeah. Because then the true God, the true creator, is going to strip you. He's going to put you through some things, right?
Yeah.
But see, I mean, we're all, and I think that's the point. You know, when I was listening to Damien, I was just thinking to myself, like, man, this is really deep, because we all are searching for some sense of meaning and purpose right now. You know what I mean? Like, life is so uncertain, whether you're talking about COVID or the economy or the case may be, but life is so uncertain. We're all searching for something to give us some guidance. We're all searching for something to help us to understand, you know, why we are in this place. We're all searching for something to say, I know that pay bills, hang out on the weekend, and then I keep doing this until I'm 70, 80, 90 years old.
Great point. Let's go ahead and get Willie up in here. We got a few minutes. Let's go ahead and get Willie from Palmdale.
Come on, Willie.
Willie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, Robin. I'm still liking your book, having vision within, we're hearing the voice within. But I still want to give Danny Morrison my condolences.
Yeah, thank you for that. I'm sure he appreciates it.
And I just want to ask the question about Proverbs 10:22, where it says the blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it. And then I just want to say that God bless us. It say may we prosper as our soul prosper. I having questions about the first one, Proverbs 22. I guess it's self-explanatory, but it didn't seem like it when I was like sitting and listening. But the following caller, Damien, he was saying a lot of good things, and I enjoyed listening to your program. That's all I have to say.
Willie, we always appreciate you. Thank you so much for reading the book as well. When you finish the book, let me know. I would love to know your thoughts. I appreciate you as always, and thank you for your comment and the question for the night. Faraji, I'll give it to you. What do you think about that scripture? And I think kind of the issue is we talk about this so often. We all have our own thoughts on the Bible. Mm-hmm. Nobody truly understands what it is, what it means. In 30 seconds, do you have an idea or a response to Willie and that scripture that he was talking about?
I mean, I think that the big thing is for us to understand what role and what is our place in this larger creation, right? And what is essentially, what is the purpose? Like all of the talents, quote unquote, and all of the gifts that we are blessed with are supposed to bring us to one goal, to reflect the Almighty. And I think that you're not going to reflect the Almighty and still be rewarded by the enemy of the Almighty. You can't do that.
Oh, Faraji, this is it's a lot to break down.
Like I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're right about it.
You can't talk about pleasing a righteous God, a just God, and then your reward comes from His arch enemy.
I'm gonna tell you what. I know my Auntie Penny is listening. She's gonna break this down for me tomorrow. Watch. I'm gonna tell you like that. Auntie Penny, shout out to you. She's gonna break all of the Bible, that scripture down, and so much more. That was your raw report. You are inside the Danny Morrison Show, and when we come forward, we are gonna break down some of those videos that you guys send, and it's called Upon Further Review, one of my favorite segments. Please stay right there.